At Lupitan and Unitson, we're often asked by our clients and potential clients, how long is my medical malpractice lawsuit going to take? And the answer is, it depends. Sometimes cases can be resolved through a settlement early on. Other times cases take several months, sometimes years to resolve. And sometimes cases take a long time to make their way to trial, to get a jury verdict, and sometimes they have to go up on an appeal to be able to ultimately get compensation for the client. In our experience, I would say approximately 10 to 15% of the cases that we choose to take on and file suit on are settled very early on because they are so clear-cut and the damages are so obvious and caused by the mistake that the hospital, the medical system, the doctor wants to settle early on because they know they have no chance of winning if they even try to hold out. But the vast majority of cases, probably in the 75 to 80% range, have to go through litigation. That means we file a lawsuit. There's an answer from the defendant. There are lawyers from the other side. There are written discovery questions that take time to answer and go through. There are medical records that have to be developed. There are witnesses that have to be interviewed. There are depositions that have to be taken. There are experts that have to be consulted. And then there is the process of getting the court to list your case for trial. In our experience, we find that once a case has been put in suit, meaning a lawsuit has been filed, it typically takes 1.5 to 2.5 years to get a resolution. We find that the resolutions most often happen just before trial because that's the point in time when the defendant feels the most pressure about being held accountable, and that's when we find that they come to the table and for the first time start to have a reasonable discussion about settling your case for a reasonable amount of money. And then there's that very small percentage of cases where the defendant, for one reason or another, does not want to settle, and you have to get your outcome, your case decided by a jury. And in those situations, you're looking at 2 to 3 years for a resolution of your claim. And if you get a jury verdict in your favor, there is always the possibility that a defendant could file an appeal, which is typically going to tack on 1 to 1.5 years more to the resolution of your case. So, in summary, it depends how long your case is going to take, depending on how clear-cut your case is and what the position of settlement is by the defendant.